everyone, it's Rachel here from St Lawrence Church in Hatfield, and I'm really excited to be with you today for the first ever one of our new series of collective worship videos. And we're going to be looking at lockdown parables. And so every week from now until the summer holidays, I'm going to bring you a brand new story. And it's going to be a parable, and that's a bit of a strange word. Who knows what the word parable means? Well, a parable is just a story that we use that uses things that are familiar to us to explain something that's a bit more complicated, or perhaps we don't understand or isn't familiar to us. And so all of these stories are going to have things that you might recognise from your lockdown experience. So listen up and see if you recognise any of these stories, or if they might be about your family or something that you've experienced. So, week 1. This story is about a lady called Lucy. Now, Lucy is a mum, and she has lots of little kids, and they've got lots of brothers and sisters, and she likes to look after her family. So, at the first week of lockdown, she went to the shops. She went to Asda, and she thought, I'm going to go to Asda, and I'm going to look for all the things that I need. And I've made a list. So on my list is pasta, and rice, and apples, and potatoes, and flour, and toilet roll. Definitely need the toilet roll. I'm running out of toilet roll. And so off she went to Asda. And when she got to Asda, she realised that this was a weird place. This is a weird world that we were living in. And she walked down the aisles, and all of the shelves were empty on this side, and all of the shelves were empty on that side. And she got to the roll aisle. There was no toilet roll. And so she was so upset. She was lost. How would they get through without any toilet roll? And so Lucy came out of the shop, and she went to Tesco. And in Tesco, she walked down all of the aisles, and she got to the toilet roll aisle, and it was empty. And she went to Sainsbury's, and she walked down the toilet roll aisle, and the toilet roll aisle was empty. And she went to Aldi, and the same. And she went to Lidl, the same. Every supermarket she went in, there was no toilet roll, and there was no flour, and there was no pasta. All the things that she needed to look after all of her children, she couldn't find. And so she went to every shop she could think of to look for those things, and she came to a corner shop, a little tiny shop on the corner of her street. And she went, I've lost all hope. There's nowhere I'm going to find toilet roll. There's nowhere that I'm going to find flour so that I can do baking with my kids during lockdown. There's just no hope. She walked down the aisle. As she looked up, guess what she saw? Toilet roll! They had toilet roll! Yay! And she was so excited. And she ran up to the toilet roll, and she didn't care. She threw everything else out of her basket. She didn't want anything else. She just wanted the toilet roll. And then she came round the other corner, and she found the flour! And she gathered them in, and she held them close. And she ran. She didn't even look at the price of them. She didn't care how much they cost. She had found the most valuable thing, the thing that she needed for her family. And she gathered it all in, and she took it to the till, and she paid. And she didn't care if it cost £10 or £20 or £100 or £1,000. She'd found the most valuable thing in her life at that point. Now that's an interesting story, isn't it? I don't know if your family really struggled to get the things that they needed and ended up paying more for toilet roll or flour or maybe pasta or something else that they needed at the beginning of lockdown. It was very strange, wasn't it? Well, this story reminds me a little bit of a parable that Jesus told in the Bible as well. It's called The Pearl of Great Price. And it talks about a person that trades loads of things. They have loads of really expensive things in their house. They have gold, and they have really expensive paintings, and they've got ornaments, and they've got really nice furniture. My house isn't like that. I don't know if your house is like that. Lots of really nice expensive things. And the trader goes to the shop one day and finds this little tiny, he had to look really closely to see it, this little tiny pearl. But he looked at it, and to him it was so valuable, so important, that he ran all the way home. He got all of these really posh, expensive things that he had in his house, and he took them outside and he sold them because he wanted to buy that pearl. He didn't care how much it cost. Like the same as Lucy, when she went and found the toilet roll, she didn't care how much the toilet roll cost. She was going to buy it, whatever it cost, whatever it meant. She was going to get that toilet roll and that flower. And the trader went and bought that tiny pearl. For him, that was the most valuable thing. More valuable than all his gold and furniture and paintings and posh things. And I don't know what is in your life is the most valuable at the moment. Perhaps lockdown has showed you that different things are more valuable than you perhaps realised. Maybe time with your mum and dad and your brothers and sisters are the most valuable thing right now. And you would give everything to just be with them and spend more time with them. Perhaps you've realised how valuable your teachers and your friends are, and actually you would give anything to be back at school, giving people hugs and seeing your grandparents and all of those lovely things that we're really missing right now, aren't we? Perhaps you've realised that having a phone and an iPad and the best clothes and the best trainers and lots of really expensive things isn't the most important, actually. But the most valuable thing is that you're safe and you're healthy and you can be at home with your family. Spend a couple of moments today thinking about what is really valuable to you. Perhaps it might surprise you, and maybe it won't be the thing that maybe before lockdown you thought was really valuable. In Jesus' parable, I think he was talking about heaven and about finding a way to get into heaven. That all of the things in this life and on this world aren't as valuable as spending eternity. But maybe that's not as valuable to you as other people. I don't. I think that's really exciting. And I can't wait to be in heaven. But I'm going to pray to close our collective worship. And hopefully you'll have a chance to think about what's valuable to you. Father God, thank you for this time to have a lockdown parable and to learn more about ourselves, about our world and about you. I pray that you would protect and keep safe all of the boys and girls from this school. I pray that you would help us to understand our world more, to love it more, to look after it more, and to understand what the most valuable things are, even if they aren't the most expensive money-wise. Amen. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great week. See you next week for another lockdown parable.